Hello, students, and welcome to the new episode of my YouTube videos. Today, we are going to be talking about the history and culture of letters and postcards. So I hope you guys really enjoy it. I really enjoyed making it, and I learned a lot, and I could read some historical stories about important letters and things like that. So I put a couple stories in the chat or in the essay today. So please enjoy it. Okay, let's get into it. Letters and postcards, communication before the internet. When was the last time you wrote a letter to someone? Who did you write it to? Letters used to be a very important part of our lives. In past generations, before the internet, before telephones, and long before sending text messages, people stayed in touch through letters and postcards. These simple pieces of paper connected families and friends across great distances. A letter could take weeks or even months to travel, yet people waited patiently. They knew that when a letter arrived, it carried not only words, but also emotion, thought, and care. For many, receiving a letter was one of life's greatest joys. In the past, writing a letter was not just a task, it was an art form. People chose beautiful stationery, dipped their pens in ink, and thought carefully about each sentence. In Europe, letter writing became an important part of social life during the 18th and 19th centuries. People used fine paper, wax seals, and sometimes even added a small spritz of perfume or fragrance to their letters. A well-written letter showed not only education, but also refinement and respect. Famous writers and artists often expressed their deepest emotions through letters. For example, the painter Vincent van Gogh wrote over 600 letters to his brother Theo, describing his struggles, dreams, and artistic ideas. These letters later became an invaluable record of his life and mind. One of the most touching letters in history was written aboard the Titanic, the famous British ship that sank in 1912. A woman named Esther Hart, who was traveling from England to Canada with her husband and young daughter, wrote a letter to her mother on the last day that Titanic was sailing. She described how beautiful the Titanic was, how much food there was, and how everyone felt safe and happy on board. She ended the letter by saying she would post it when they arrived in New York. But the Titanic never reached its destination. When the ship struck an iceberg and sank, over 1,500 people died. Amazingly, Esther and her daughter survived, but her husband did not. The letter she had written was found later in her coat pocket, slightly water-stained but still readable. Today, that letter is kept in a museum in England. It shows that these letters can capture moments in time forever, and that we can revisit them to remember the past. Letters have also played a dramatic role in history. Before modern communication, leaders and explorers depended on them to share information. During the age of exploration, sailors carried letters across oceans. Sometimes these messages were the only link between continents. One famous example comes from the early 17th century, when English explorer Captain William Adams, known in Japan as Miura Anjin, wrote letters to England from Japan describing his life there. His letters became the first detailed descriptions of Japan written by a European, opening a window between two distant worlds. In times of war, letters were even more precious. Soldiers on the battlefield wrote to their families, often on thin pieces of paper that could be easily carried. These wartime letters were filled with love, fear, and hope. For many families, a single letter from a loved one was a priceless treasure. During World War II, both Japanese and Allied soldiers sent millions of letters. Many of them have been preserved in museums, reminding us of the human stories behind great historical events. Not only letters, but also postcards have had a dramatic impact on the way people communicate with each other. The first official postcard was sent in Austria in 1869, and soon the ideas spread across the world. Postcards were cheaper and faster to send than letters, and they allowed people to share short messages and pictures. The late 19th and early 20th centuries became known as the golden age of postcards. Millions were sent every year from travelers, students, and even strangers who collected and exchanged them. In Japan, the Meiji government introduced postcards in 1873, only 4 years after the first ones appeared in Europe. The Japanese postal system quickly became famous for its efficiency. Postcards were used not only for short notes, but also for New Year's greetings, a tradition that continues to this day. Early Japanese postcards often featured ukiyo-e-style designs, beautiful calligraphy, and views of Mount Fuji, Kyoto temples, or blooming cherry trees. Many of these vintage cards are now considered art. Postcards also became souvenirs of travel. A traveler in Paris might send a card showing the Eiffel Tower, while someone in Egypt might show the pyramids and Sphinx. Collecting postcards became a popular hobby, and some people still practicing post-crossing, which is the art of exchanging postcards with strangers from around the world. In today's world, we can send an email in seconds or share a photo instantly, but something important is missing. It's the personal touch. A handwritten letter shows personality. The unique shape of the handwriting, the choice of paper, even small mistakes that reveal emotion. When you hold a letter, you hold something the writer once touched. It is a physical connection, something that digital messages can never fully replace. For many people, old letters are among their most precious possessions. They are kept in boxes, tied with ribbons, and read again and again. A letter from a parent, a friend, or a loved one can bring back memories and feelings long after the person is gone. In this way, letters are not just communication, they are history, emotion, and art combined. All right, thank you guys. Let's move on to our vocabulary, and we have 5 words here. Here's our vocabulary. So let's practice the words. Everyone, please repeat after me. The word number 1 is refinement. Refinement. Number 2, invaluable. Invaluable. Number 3, preserved. Preserved. Number 4 is an expression. It is golden age. Golden age. And number 5, possessions. Possessions. Okay, let's go over the definition of each one. Refinement means the quality of being polite, elegant, or cultured. Something that is high in culture, very elegant, is refined. So refinement. Invaluable is extremely valuable, too precious to measure in money. A very precious or invaluable letter is a letter from someone that means so much to you that you don't want to sell it. Number 3, preserved, to keep something safe or in good condition for the future. So the letter is now preserved in a museum. It's kept safe in good condition so future people can look at it. Number 4, golden age. A perfect past time of peace, prosperity, and happiness. Usually this is kind of imaginary when you think back to the past. Oh, the golden age. It's not realistic. It's your imagined perfect, peaceful, happy life or something like that. And last one is possessions, something that belongs to you or that you own. The things you own are your possessions. Okay, let's move on to our discussion questions. Hey, welcome back. Number 1 says, how do you feel when you receive a handwritten letter or card? How does that make you feel? You open up your mailbox or your post box, and inside is a handwritten letter from someone you know. How do you feel? Number 2, in Japan, nengajō, New Year's postcards, are still popular. Why do you think this tradition continues? Why do you think this tradition continues? Number 3, have you ever kept old letters or cards? What memories do they bring back? Number 4, if you could make a postcard about your hometown, what would it look like? So imagine you are the creative person creating a new postcard for your hometown or the town you live in now. What does that postcard look like? Is there something special from your town, a landmark, maybe a picture, a landscape, or something that's famous in your town? So what does it look like? And number 5, do you know any famous letters or stories about letters or postcards from your country? So I shared 2 stories. One was Vincent van Gogh. The next one was the famous letter on the Titanic. So I want to hear about maybe a famous letter or famous postcard from your country. Can you tell me about it? Thanks. I have something to show you. Okay, here it is. Just a moment. When I turned 20, my grandmother bought me a Bible, a Holy Bible. And she wrote a very precious letter to me in the Bible. So many people do this. If they give a present in a Bible, on the first opening blank page, they will write a message. Usually this message is something like, I hope you read this book. I hope you grow as a strong person, and things like that. This is a very personal letter, and if I read it, I might cry. So I'm not going to read it today. But I just wanted to show you my grandmother's beautiful handwriting. If you look here. Yeah, so my grandmother, she always took a long time, and she always thought very carefully about her handwritten letters. She would always try to write very beautifully, and I always kept everything she wrote me. I have in a box in my closet, I have all of my birthday cards from my grandmother, because she always wrote a very long message. But maybe this is the best letter I've ever got. And I always read this, and it helps me be a strong person, and it helps me try to be a good person, caring about others and taking care of the people around me. And that's because my grandmother told me to do that. So I kept this old letter in my Bible, and it brings back a lot of memories about my grandmother and how she always taught me how to be a good person and showed me through example about being a great person. So I really love this letter. Okay, thanks for listening to my story, you guys, and thank you for joining today's YouTube video. I hope you guys will answer the questions. I'm looking forward to hearing them, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.